notice how your brain treats information the same way John Wick treats anyone who messes with his dog? Yeah, total annihilation. Let me ask you something. Have you ever been so convinced you were right that even when someone showed you the evidence you were wrong, your brain was like, that's fake news. That must be CGI, deep fake. I don't buy it. Today, we're slaying one of the most dangerous cognitive biases in business, sales, relationships, and decision making. It's confirmation bias, the invisible force field that turns your brain into a bouncer at a nightclub. And the only people allowed in are the beliefs that you already have. Stick around, because the twist at the end is the thing that your brain doesn't want you to hear. So here's the deal. Confirmation bias is the tendency for humans to seek, interpret, remember information that confirms what they already believe, while ignoring any new information that challenges those beliefs. It's basically the mental equivalent of watching only the YouTubers you agree with, unfollowing anybody who doesn't, and then saying, see, everybody thinks this way. Behavioral scientist Peter Wason proved this back in the 60s with what was called the Wason selection task, an experiment where people were terrible at testing their own assumptions because they only looked for the data that confirmed their stuff. They only looked for the data that confirmed them. In other words, humans don't really want truth. Humans want to feel right. And the smarter that you are, the worse you usually are at this. Your intelligence just becomes your lawyer, arguing for whatever you already believe. So why does this bias wreck so many deals? Because confirmation bias makes you blind to what's actually happening in the conversation. Here's what it looks like in sales. You think it's a hot lead, so you only see signals that confirm that it's a hot lead. You think that they're broke, so you only hear the objections, not the buying intent. You think the deal is dead, so you stop listening for openings. It's like your brain updates its software through the app store of your own ego. Confirmation bias is why people stay in bad relationships. Leaders protect bad hires. Reps keep pitching the wrong things. Companies cling to failed strategies. And your uncle on Facebook thinks he's a geopolitical expert because he saw one funny meme. In battlefield terms, confirmation bias is the fog of war inside your own skull. Here's the reframe. Your brain isn't designed to be right. It's designed to protect your identity. Information that supports your beliefs feels like a warm, fuzzy blanket, like Linus from the Peanuts. Information that challenges your beliefs, that feels like Thanos punching you in the chest. See, Galef talks about this in an amazing book called The Scout Mindset. There are two ways to navigate the world. You got the soldier mindset. This is attack anything that disagrees with you. Defend anything that confirms you, and just win the argument at all costs, but you lose the truth in the process. But then you have the scout mindset. This is where you seek the actual terrain. You look for all the different blind spots, and you're curious instead of just defensive. The goal here isn't to be right. The goal is to see everything clearly. When you shift from soldier to scout, deals close faster, decisions get cleaner, and you stop living in the matrix of your own assumptions. So what's some actionable stuff that we can do, right? Well, one, we can ask a disconfirming question. So instead of asking, why is this prospect qualified? Ask, what evidence would show me that they aren't? One question that flips your brain from soldier to scout instantly. How about you do a steel man instead of a straw man? See, some of you've heard of straw man before. And that what that is that you're making your opposing argument or your opposition's argument weaker. Steel man is you're propping it up and you're going to make it stronger. So say this in sales. Let me make the strongest case for the opposite decision, just so we can be sure. See, this builds more trust than any pitch. Label your assumption out loud. Your brain actually loses 40% of its bias power the moment that you name it. So you say to yourself internally, I'm assuming this is a hot lead, but let me test that. Instant clarity. You use the opposite hypothesis trick. You ask yourself, what would I think if the opposite were true? This forces your brain to open doors that it normally keeps locked. You got to audit your evidence sources. If all your data comes from places that agree with you, you're not researching, you're curating a fan club. Real truth requires some friction. Real growth requires some dissonance. Here's the twist that the hook promised. Confirmation bias doesn't just distort how you see others. It distorts how you see yourself. See, you don't judge your abilities based on reality. You judge them based on evidence that you have chosen to remember. You're either collecting proof that you're a winner, or you're collecting proof that you're a failure. See, both are just stories, but only one of those stories is useful. And once you learn to catch confirmation bias in the wild, you stop living on autopilot and you start making decisions based on truth, not ego. So welcome to episode 1 of Slaying Bias. Next up is going to be loss aversion, the psychological Sith Lord of sales. Stay dangerous, stay curious, and above all, slay the bias.